And good evening, ladies and gentle viewers, and welcome back to Gen X Cinema and episode 2 of the Mel Brooks podcast. Hope y'all are having a wonderful evening. Hope y'all are having a wonderful weekend wherever you are. Hopefully, you are staying warm and cozy and are prepared to join us for our discussion on what is it we're discussing again? Oh, yes, Blazing Saddles.
He rode a blazing saddle.
He wore.
You guys know the story behind that song?
No, would you like to share as we begin, Chris? By all means, please.
I absolutely would.
Please.
So, well, hold on just a second. I mean, really, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, go right ahead." I thought you want to introduce each other first, and then maybe I'll give it.
Okay, everybody, Ace and Chris. I'm the ambassador. Good to see you all. All right, Chris, story, go.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. So
everybody knows that that's at this point, Chris. If they don't, well, then they'll learn.
So Frankie Lane,
as we go.
At this point, they're
Frankie Lane was brought in to do it, and he had no clue that this wasn't a legit Western, because he did many songs for Westerns. And so so the thing is when they brought him in, they knew that they could legitimize the absurdity of this movie by having him sing this song and not know that it was absurd. So the movie title theme is so blatantly, directly like any other Western that when you first watch the whole thing, it's so like, what am I going to watch here? Because it feels like it's going to be a straight-laced Western. And so when he went to go see the movie at the premiere, he had no clue what he was walking into. And I'm trying. I have to look up the phrase, like what he said, but he said something like, "Oh my God, I didn't realize. Like, what the hell is this?" And if I remember right, I don't know this for sure. I'd have to look it up. I want to say that this movie might have gotten nominated for several awards, but one of them I think was for that song. I'd have to double check.
I think it did get nominated for. No, wait a minute, that was for the producers. Never mind. That Brooks got nominated for best screenplay and won. Yeah, that was it. That was for the producers. Mr. Ace, your opening thoughts on Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, here you go.
Well,
hang on. Chris has got the quote. Go ahead.
Hang on.
I'm looking it up right here in my notes.
Okay.
I was looking for it. Mel Brooks hired famous Western singer Frankie Lane to sing the theme song. Brooks didn't tell him the movie was a spoof, which I knew that, because he wanted a sincere, heartfelt performance. Lane sang it perfectly straight, which made the opening so much funnier. But I can't find it. Where I thought I put the.
Can't hold on much longer. Hurry up! Lose your grip.
Go ahead, Ace. Go ahead, Ace.
No, go ahead. Finish your point, Chris. I just had to be an ass.
I'm just. Here you go. What did Frankie Lane think of Blazing Saddles? Now I have to look it up this way. Right here. He thought he was singing the same songs. Upon realizing Blazing Saddles was a comedy, he felt embarrassed and sank into his seat. And as he delivered it over to the top, sincere performance. He was not informed by Mel Brooks. And then he basically said, after everybody applauded, he was like, "Okay, maybe my career isn't finished." He thought his career was finished. That was the big thing.
You're working with Mel Brooks. Of course, your career isn't finished. If anything, your career is going to get even better.
Clearly, he had not seen the producers before agreeing to do this movie.
Obviously not. So, Ace, your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts are classic movie, and everyone has heard the phrase within the last 10 years. You couldn't make a Mel Brooks movie today. You couldn't make Blazing Saddles today. And my intro to this movie was word of mouth from my friend at the time back in Ohio, Crazy Kyle. And by God, if he was right that this movie is funny as hell. And when I say Crazy Kyle, I mean he is legit crazy, schizo, hears voices, threatens me on social media. Why are you messing with my brainwaves through the radio frequencies? Don't know why I revealed that information other than just for a cheap laugh at the blah, blah, blah.
That's not nice.
Well,
that's
I'm
not
evil
nice,
incarnate,
dude. I'm gonna have to
kiss.
Well, my introduction to Blazing Saddles was, of course, through Mother Ambassador, because back in the day when Blockbuster was still a thing, I saw this thing sitting on a shelf, and I asked Mom, I was like, "Have you ever seen this movie?" She's like, "Oh yes." I'm like, "Is it any good?" She's like, "Yes, but it has some very off-color language." I'm like, "Off-color?" She's like, lots of racial slurs." I'm like, "Oh, but it's funny." She's like, "Oh yeah, it's hilarious." I'm like, "Okay,
No
we're
slurs
renting
will be
it."
spoken here, people, not even by me, even though I hate everyone equally.
And okay, I will say this. Yes, I heard growing up, no one in my family is racist by any means, but I did hear a few racial slurs, including that word. That word that we won't say here, and not to mention all the other racial slurs that are uttered in this film about people from the Far East, about people from Ireland, and everything else under the sun, but not really. And the first time I popped this sucker into the VCR, yes, for those of you that are old enough to remember what a VCR is, it was the predecessor of the DVD and the Blu-ray player.
Is that like a Betamax? Or maybe like a Super 8?
Shut up, Chris.
It's the descendant of 16 millimeter.
Yeah, or
that.
See, I know that right there. That's fine.
I thought you would, you dinosaur.
Hey, if I'm a dinosaur, if he's a dinosaur, so are you, and so am I.
You're a baby dinosaur. How about that, Mr. Ambassador? Is that gonna be points in your court?
No, because I think I'm older than you.
T-Rex is a baby dinosaur too.
It's all good. I just wanted to stroke your ego because you won't let me stroke nothing else of yours.
You're not my type.
I know that's what kills me.
You're not like the guys in the musical scene at the end of Blazing Saddles. You're definitely not my type.
They hit Fred. Come on, girls.
And watch me F slurs. And of course, it was said by Dom DeLuise. It was said by Dom DeLuise, who would later appear as Caesar, the great and powerful Jew. Caesar in History of the World Part 1, which we will be getting to in due course.
Should have asked one of my Instagram friends if we could have permission to use that slur, because on account of me, he might have said yes, but probably not. But I can dream, can't I?
I don't want my channel getting nuked. So no, we will not use that slur, but everybody knows the slur I'm referring to, the F slur for people of the homosexual persuasion.
The rolled cigarette name.
Yeah, the British cigarette.
It's an English term for a rolled cigarette.
Yeah.
Which, again, is another reason why the YouTube rules make no sense, because YouTube's name is like worldwide, isn't it? So are they dinging people in UK for saying something that's just standard phrasing over there?
And what happens if someone's talking about health foods? They're talking apples and oranges. They can get flagged if they say fruit.
Yeah. Good point, Ace. Notch it up there.
But here's the
you need a counter here for when he makes a good point. You don't need one that counts very high, maybe up to 5. No, just.
But here's the amazing thing about this movie.
Sorry.
No, it's fine, guys. You're good. This movie deliberately gives the idea of racism and any type of other ism a black eye, and does it deliberately and hysterically. And it does it within the... Yes, because to be racist or any type of hater of another person just because, okay, they have a different skin color or they're a different nationality, or I'll even say maybe they're a different sexual orientation, is beyond absurd, because we're all essentially the same on the inside when it comes to, internal organs and the color of our blood and the fact that we're all freaking human.
Which is why I quote the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket. You're all equally worthless.
Equally worthless.
I need to make a t-shirt with that phrase on it. You're all equally worthless. I got Hollywood must be destroyed. I need to make you're all equally worthless, or we're all equally worthless. I'm good patent.
No, you're all equally worthless. But not you, our gentle viewers. You are not equal. You are not worthless.
And here, that's not just to appease the algorithm. We love you.
Okay, Ace, you're even creeping out the algorithm, dude. Quit it. You're making the algorithm nervous. Anyway, back to Blazing Saddles. This movie is, of course, known for its humor, but it's also known for its music, as we've already discussed the opening tune done by Mr. Frankie Lane. But we, of course, have one absolutely glorious musical number done by the late, the great. We love her. She had a beautiful comedic mind, and she was a very lovely woman. The one, the only Miss Madeline Kahn, playing Lily von Stoop.
To quote Mike Myers and Dana Carvey, "Schwing."
Well, yeah. If you see her costume that she's wearing on stage at the saloon in Rock Ridge, at the Rock Ridge Saloon, wow. Golly.
If nothing else,
and what legs?
Mel Brooks had some very good taste in women.
Well, yeah, not to mention, Madeline Kahn, but also the actress who played the governor, William J. Lepedimaine's secretary. And she's dressed like she's dressed even more so like a Chicago showgirl, a Las Vegas showgirl.
Nowadays, they're called OnlyFans models.
Yeah, but back in those days, she was just a babe. And I think we're making Chris nervous because he keeps going off camera.
No, but I'm eating, and I just don't think it's...
Dude.
Well, it depends on what you're eating. If you're eating rice, no one's going to care. If you're eating a hot dog seductively, the people will care. And it's not eating the hot dog seductively, at least.
So
quit taking what is it? Tips from
talking about a funny movie. I'm eating cheddar.
Okay.
As someone who's part Italian, I'm offended you're not eating mozzarella.
What's wrong with cheddar, dude?
I like cheddar, but
it's upstairs in the refrigerator. I have that too.
At least he's not eating
and
American
Swiss
cheese.
And provolone and cheddar.
Good man. Okay. Anyway, back to the musical number. I'm tired by. I mean, what a gloriously written and performed musical scene, and just. She delivers it so beautifully, and let's just say it. Madeline Kahn had a beautiful singing voice.
That she did,
and she had wonderful comedic timing. And this is, of course, is not the last time we'll see her in a Mel Brooks movie, obviously, because we will see her in, of course, History of the World Part 1 and Young Frankenstein, which we will be discussing here probably next month, I think. I think that's next in his filmography.
It is.
I believe this.
Okay, I was right.
12 pairs, I believe.
You could have a counter too for you. You could have a counter for you too. Yours could go up to 10.
Oh, good. Yeah, I feel special. I don't need a counter.
Mine just needs to have an infinity sign on it because every point I make is chef's kiss.
Anyway, your thoughts on the musical number with Madeline Kahn? The floor is open, gentlemen.
Proceed, Chris, before I interject.
I thought this time you were supposed to take the lead.
Alrighty then. That was a mistake. Well, I must say, just the title, I'm Tired. It is the most resonating title of a song when you're past 30 and it's the end of the work week, because that's what you are. No libido. You're not looking out on the prowl for tail anymore. You're just tired. Everything below the waist is kaput. It is sad to say that pushing 34, my God, I want to play Russian roulette by myself and cheat by having a fully loaded round of an automatic. Why am I saying this other than to sabotage myself and cause concern for others? I do not know. I'm done.
All right. When I say, okay, Chris.
Okay.
Chris, I think we need to have an intervention
Following
after
that
this
up-
stream.
Should I give you a moment to process and add a couple things? I can, and it won't be as dark.
I heard something about a loaded gun, a bullet,
Please.
fire. You know, I'm just saying.
Myself, not to others.
Listen, what you do to yourself in your free and private time is perfectly fine.
Sideways to make a statement, long ways to get results.
All right, Ace.
And back
I need to get my
asswards to
channel
get the wrong impression. Anyway,
No, I'm trying to get myself nuked, or at least put me on.
Mel
an
Brooks
FBI
has-
watch
We'll
list.
quit
I don't
it.
know.
Mel Brooks has a way of
Let's focus on the conversation on the actual movie, not what you want to do.
Okay, enough of my hobbies. Sorry.
Mel Brooks does a really good job in his movies about integrating these things, and he does a really good job with basically a saloon girl or prostitute or whatever. I mean, that type of a
Well, she's an
character in
actual.
this movie
She
would
is an
do some-
entertainer, a singer.
She's a stage girl, but they did all that. I mean, if you've ever seen any of these movies that are straight laced ones, that is what they did. They would perform, and a guy liked them. They would say, "Hey, I want to take that one for the night," or however long. I mean, you know. So they do a really good job of setting up the reason for why she does it. So he could have just thrown it in there to throw it in there at any point in any time. That's fine. But he at least understood that, okay, she is a showgirl, so we should give her a number, because it's not like, you know, you got extras and you got supporting actors and actresses doing similar things. So there's other showgirls in there, but she is, for the most part, the showgirl. So that is why you need to give her something like this, because he's still thinking in terms, and this is what's great about Mel Brooks, and maybe I'm going a little too nerd breakdown on this, but this is the great thing about Mel Brooks is that
going too nerd.
He's like, not only am I going to do a movie that is themed like something that so many people loved, or because, you know, being in the 70s, this genre had died, but he says, I'm going to do it funny, but still as if I was doing that type of movie. So what did they have in these movies? They had the epic opening. Well, how do I sell this as if this is going to be a Western? He went after the Western singer and he got it done, and he did that. So he does these things. So it's a funny song. It's done perfectly by Madeline Kahn. And yet at the same time, it feels natural. This would happen. The scene that you see in the saloon would happen. This is how that would have. Well, okay, this is how we assume it would happen. Nobody probably had, you know, they had photographs, so we've seen, you know, there are actual photographs of these crazy numbers and stuff going on and nice stuff. You know, we know what it was like, but nobody knows exactly if that's how it was. But it feels like this is natural because of what we saw in Westerns. Except at the same time, when you watch it, you're like, this is so fucking hilarious. It's like, how am I watching something that feels natural, but it feels so unnatural at the same time? And Mel Brooks is a
genius.
Is a genius for doing this, and he does it effortlessly all the time.
And speaking of natural, like I mentioned earlier, they say you couldn't make a Mel Brooks movie today. If this movie was made today, this scene would have someone else dubbed over the actress's voice. It'd be some model type that couldn't sing, let alone barely act to save her life. Sing me, sweetie. And auto-tune the hell to like try to disguise the fact, and it would just not work. But Madeline Kahn, natural beauty, could sing, sells it, makes
Well,
it
that's
work.
because a lot. I mean, even somewhat into the 80s. Think about it. Bruce Willis sang a song. Miami Vice. Main character in Miami Vice.
Crockett or Tubbs?
No,
Tubbs.
Tubbs.
I can't remember his name.
Whatever the actor was, did Heartbeat. The guy in General Hospital. He was on Solid Gold. An actor really did themselves a service if they could sing.
Hmm.
So as that went along in the 80s, so at this time when this movie's coming out, lots of actresses and actors could sing. That's why Mel Brooks has numbers in there, because he knows Gene Wilder's in this, even Cleavon Little. All these guys could sing. Maybe not great, but that did yourself a service. So Madeline Kahn did a lot of this stuff.
And Mel also had an appreciation for theater, of like, as we can see.
Exactly, but that's the thing. The movie art making changed in the middle
80s.
late 80s,
or even middle late 70s, you could say. Yeah,
maybe, but it's like, I don't know.
Well, you'll have to remember this movie came out in 74, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the Westerns had kind of had their heyday, and they would have a resurgence in like the late 80s and into the 90s, because you had quite a few you had some pretty good Westerns come out in the 90s. I mean, The Quick and the Dead,
Unforgiven.
You still get one. You still get one every few years.
Yeah, you still get some good.
Go ahead.
So, but the great thing about Blazing Saddles, and I think we can kind of circle back around to the musical aspect later if we want to, is, like I said, within the first 5 minutes of this movie, after the titles have rolled, or the opening credits and titles have rolled, Mel Brooks and the rest of the writers just start hammering the concept of racism in the face repeatedly. And you get a sing-off on either side of the railroad tracks with a bunch of black railroad workers and a bunch of rednecks. And, you talk about Western tropes. You have one of the best, most well-known, except for maybe a few Western actors in this movie. Slim Pickens, who plays Taggart, the lead henchman under Hedley Lamar. That's Hedley. That's Hedley.
Hetty.
Well, here's the funny thing. There was actually an actress from back in the day by the name of Hedy Lamarr, and they actually had to pay her a few $1,000s because there was such a similarity between the two names. They're like, we don't want to offend her. She's a very nice lady, so let's pay her some money. And she was like, okay, yeah, you can give me some money to use a variation of my name. So, but they did it with respect. They weren't being asses about it. That was the great thing about this. But
you get the you know about that, don't you? You know why it's so in your face, don't you?
Because well, for one, you have one of the best comedic writers. Grant, he was a little lax on his work ethic, by the name of Richard Pryor, working on writing this movie, helping write this movie.
True that.
Richard Pryor, when Mel Brooks was a little anxious about the strong language and the strong racial nature of this movie, which, let's make no bones about this movie being completely racist, but not because it wants to be racist, because it needs to be racist.
And
That's
what's
basically what Richard Pryor said. He says, no, if you back off, it isn't harsh enough for people to realize when it is real how bad it really is. He says, we are poking fun at this, but if we don't go all out,
And
we will not make the point we're trying to make. And when he said that, Brooks was like, okay.
Yeah.
And what's funny is, according to the commentary, Mel said that the portions of the scenes that Richard Pryor contributed to are actually a lot of the scenes with Mongo in it, and he didn't actually write much of the scenes with the slurs and Bart and whatnot. And Mel actually wrote a lot of those, but obviously bouncing ideas off of Richard Pryor, which just goes.
No, I think Richard Pryor basically gave him permission and said, "No, you got to."
Yeah, bouncing ideas off.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, some people, when they, and I think now it's a well-known fact that he was supposed to be in this movie, and because of his addictions and stuff, insurance wouldn't cover Richard Pryor to be in the movie, which I've never quite understood that. You won't let him be on screen, but you're still going to let him be a co-writer and pay him that way. He got paid his full fee, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows that. And just listed as a co-writer.
I figured he would.
Mel Brooks still basically paid him as the lead of the movie.
Because one would have been a more expensive cocaine addiction or habit.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't know. I've never understood you're non-insurable because of your lifestyle, because I'm not sure if asking some actor, in 4 movies like Christian Bale to go from, 300, 275 pounds, jacked up, muscled out, to 89 or whatever he was in the one movie, back up to, another thing. Is that any safer than, is that any safer than that, than having somebody who has an addiction on yours? I've just never understood.
Well, here's the thing.
But
well, here's the thing. Asking an actor to do something for a role, that makes a little more sense. An actor or a actor / writer / comedian who has a harmful addiction, that does make him rather unsure. That makes him harder to insure for the movie. So I get what you're saying, but at the same time, yeah, it would make him harder or more expensive to insure as an actor, because when you have Christian Bale doing what he's doing it to himself, but he's not going to potentially be hurting anyone else. Where you've got Richard Pryor, who could come on set and get into costume, and he could literally be under the influence and screw up a take or get somebody hurt or hurt himself. So
that's the amount of money it costs them. I kind of get that.
That's
the differentiation there. So
and an on-stage stand-up comedian transitioning to like film actor is much more unpredictable than a established film actor that's part of the Hollywood system. They're easier to control than someone that's a little bit more unpredictable because they're kind of newer to this,
right?
Or at least newer at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Because eventually, Pryor and Gene Wilder would actually do, I think it was like 3 or 4 movies together, and they were all extremely good.
Yeah.
So,
but my main point I was going to make in that, though, is it's like one of the best mistakes or
I think
one of the best mistakes or uncastings they could have ever done, because I think it was Richard Pryor who suggested Cleavon Little, and by doing so, possible. It was somebody who, if I remember, I have to go back and look at filmography or what he was known for. I don't think he had ever really been known for comedy. So him performing this movie again offered a straight-laced actor able to play
Bart.
I'll say caricature, but that, because I mean, sidetrack for 5 seconds, is like in Airplane, by getting all the straight lace characters of the 50s to play absurd parodies of themselves exactly was a brilliant move.
Oh yeah.
So, but the fact that Richard Pryor did not get hired for this movie on screen is probably something that absolutely made this movie better. And I'm not saying he would have been great in it. I'm just saying not having his name dominate this movie is probably why this movie is more recognized, because everybody else gets to shine equally in it.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Could you really imagine Richard Pryor as Bart walking out on the street, feeling all peppy and upbeat and saying, "Good morning, ma'am, and isn't it a lovely morning?" And that little old lady looks right in his face and says, "Up yours." Mm-hmm. And he walks right back into the office and looks dejected. Do you really think Richard Pryor is going to have the same acting range to look all hangdogged and depressed after that? It may not have been as natural. Let's just put it that way. He may have had to force his performance. Whereas with Cleveland Little, he's sitting in there in the sheriff's office and Jim's standing next to him. And he's like, "What did you think was going to happen? Welcome to our town. Marry my daughter.
Make yourself at home.
At home. These are the people of the make up the common clay of the New West. Morons.
The true face of America." To quote George Carlin.
And that was kind of the idea, though, is taking and making everybody in the town mostly racist, and all the racists are basically bumpkins, morons, as you said. And that was the idea, is we're going to take some, and again, tell the truth, use racism, but show that people who are therefore racist are really idiots. They don't know what they're talking about. They have no other language or whatever. This movie did a really good job of that. And going back to what Ace said about, people say all the time, "Well, you couldn't make a Mel Brooks movie today." Well, one, there's a Spaceball 2 movie I've heard about, maybe coming out at some time. Well, it doesn't matter. It is going to have Mel Brooks's name on it. And I mean,
and they've got the majority of the cast returning, at least the ones that are still alive.
I think that it is. I think the problem is people don't realize that this movie right now should still be allowed to be made today, because it's just as relevant now. And maybe you do it not Blazing Saddles. Maybe you do it about, I don't know. You can pick a number of things in the world that are going on that you could use it for.
Well, I'll say it. Immigration issue.
So but my point is
that would be a perfect.
You could do that in the same vein
as Blazing
and
Saddles.
It should be allowed, because again, this movie showed that there's people who aren't informed aren't always on the right side of things. So maybe that's the thing. I don't know, but here is one of the truly wonderful things about this movie is eventually Bart does win over the people of the town when he defeats Mongo. And we really haven't discussed the introduction of our leading man, Mr. Bart, the town sheriff. And he has... First, he sings a Frank Sinatra standard. I get no kick from champagne.
Alcohol doesn't thrill me at all.
So why can it be true?
I wish I could.
I get a kick out of you.
And I have to say, Cleavon Little, yeah, he's not a great singer, but in this instance, he is a good singer. He's not as good as Madeline Kahn is in when she sings "I'm Tired," but them having that sing off, they're on either side of the railroad tracks, and then you have Slim Pickens ride in, and he's like, "I put you people out here to get some track laid, not to be jumping around like a bunch of Kansas City."
What the wide world of sports is going
on here?
I thought Cleavon did fine, but then again, I'll listen to old school blues.
What is it about Kansas City? Is there something wrong with living here? Is it just? I always thought that was funny.
Remember,
nowadays it'd be just go strip that word.
I just always thought that was funny that it was like that.
Well, here's the thing. The truly amazing thing is when these actors drop these racial slurs or these slurs just in general, they drop it so damn naturally, and you're like, damn, they really went there. And the first time I watched this with Mother Ambassador, I was like, did he really say what I think he said? And she's like, yeah. I was like, and this movie was very popular. She's like, oh yeah. She's like, it turned a lot of heads back then. I was like, and you and Dad saw it? She's like, yeah. Once everything we saw it when it was still in theaters and everything after we were married, because they reran this movie numerous times because it did so well. Back in those days when movies did well and they just had long runs, it wasn't just
I just wonder, because you take multiple takes of scenes and stuff. How many takes did it take them to do it that naturally? Because you can't. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these guys were used to saying these words. I don't think so.
It's called dubbing.
But yeah, I get
that. No, it wasn't called dubbing, Ace.
You could dub, but no. Yeah.
Well, normally redub, I should say, like the same actors, but because
the thing is, all what you redub for is not delivery. You redub because of audio.
Yes.
So when you watch them, they are delivering it naturally. So if the audio is bad, yes, they have to go back in and redub. But I'm talking about look at how they deliver it, much like Ambassador says.
Fair enough.
The way they deliver it, how long did it take to get that natural delivery to say the words you say? Because again, most people are decent enough. We don't use these words.
No, not really.
So they don't come naturally. And yes, I understand. Actors are actors. They realize I want to say it. But this is again, every one of these actors probably, when they got this part and read these scripts, probably stopped and said, is this going to be something that I'm going to live down? Is this going to be a good enough movie to make the point that because I'm sure he talked to him and said, listen, I know you're going to read this and you're going to hear these, you're going to see these words in your lines. And you're probably going to think, I can't do this because I have a career I want to think about. But he had to say something to us that, listen, you just deliver it. And I'm going to make this movie. And when this movie comes out, people will get it. Maybe not the first watch, maybe not the second watch, but they're going to get it. And you're going to be okay. Because everybody came out of this on the other side.
Oh, yeah. Fine. And oh, yeah, very fine. I mean, people came out of this movie, the actors, the actresses, everybody, they came out of this movie just fine. I mean, this movie in a lot of ways was one.
Froze. Are you Walt Disney right now, Mr. Ambassador?
You know the Frozen, like.
Don't you sing "Let It Go"?
I'm not going to. I work in entertainment, and to this day, as a DJ, I am proud to say I have never played that song.
I would hope
I have
not.
told.
The only excuse
I have told little girls, and I have made little girls cry by saying, "No, I do not play that song."
Good man.
I am cold-hearted when it comes to that song. I refuse.
Oh, don't you be singing Foreigner now. You're as cold as ice. You're willing to sacrifice our love.
Oh. Anyways, no, the Frozen conspiracy is that Disney made the movie Frozen so that every time you look up the word Disney and Frozen, you no longer see that he is.
Sorry, guys.
It's
sorry
okay.
about that, guys.
You were in the middle of a point, so we're gonna let you make your point again. And there you go. Switch. You can switch me back down to the bottom again.
No,
That's
because
I'm happy at the bottom. Makes my eyeline like this look much more natural.
Boy,
just because you said that, moving you back up
many
here
the wrong ways. Yeah,
so
please.
Son of a.
He doesn't like to do the work.
I can really screw with you. Anyway,
now you're looking off into space. Literally, look at that. He's looking out into space.
I'm
literally
into the Kirby space, the best type of space there is.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, as I was saying before, something dropped or whatever. My connection dropped. Don't ask me why. Sorry about that, folks. Sometimes these things happen. All these people came out great on the other side of this movie, and their careers didn't miss a beat. They all went on to have very good careers. Now, the only thing I will say is that beyond Blazing Saddles and the other films that Cleveland Little did before this, I can't think of a single other movie that I've seen him in, which is unfortunate because his performance as Bart, because he has to play the very upbeat and very sincere, and he has to play this manipulator because when he first gets into the town, everybody wants to shoot him. Literally, everybody wants to shoot him. And he's like, holds a gun on himself. He's like, anybody takes another step, gets it. And everybody's like, is anybody going to help this poor man? And he gets himself, he's like, help me, somebody help me. He's like, shut up. He's like,
well,
oh, baby, you're so talented. And they are so dumb.
You want to do the math on it.
And if
he's only alive for another 18 years after this movie.
Sadly. And if anyone wanted to criticize the movie of being, oh, it's this and that and whatnot, all I could say is Cleavon Little, like his performance is classic trickster archetype in this movie. Like it comes across like he's being a live action Bugs Bunny, playing upon the dumb antagonist he comes across, like whether it be in that moment where he's like holding himself hostage at gunpoint. I could see that in an old Looney Tunes cartoon, or later on when he's delivering the candygram to Mongo. There's literally the Looney Tunes theme playing over that scene, which is
remember, this is here's the thing is, yeah, this is a Warner Brothers production, so they could pull that off and no problems with copyright. He's like, candygram from Mongo. Candygram from Mongo, and we will get to Mongo in due time, folks. Trust me. He's like, me, Mongo. Sign, please. Thank you. Boom!
Mongo like candy.
Andy. Alex Karras is Mongo. I love Alex Karras in this, and I loved. Yes, I'm going to say this, and yes, I know it may sound cliche as a Gen Xer. I loved him as the dad in Webster.
Yeah, no. Well, he did it. That's what, when you got football players, they start. Okay, so the thing that will always separate out somebody who can make it past their career in wrestling and football is how quickly can they progress to something that would be truly called acting. You can't say that when he did Mongo that he was actually acting. Well, okay, let me rephrase that. I'm not saying he was stupid. I'm just saying he didn't have to act. It was easy. Just do this. This is all we want. We just need you for you, the size you are. You're going to go out there and just, that's all you're going to do. So you see that from, you saw that from Hulk Hogan. You saw this from a bunch of wrestlers. But then you get people like John Cena and other people that kind of try to find this way to get out of that. Even if it's not great acting roles, it's better acting roles. And he did that with Webster. That's one thing you can say about him is that he was able to break out of that. You're a football player, and whatever you want to think of O.J. Simpson, O.J. Simpson's another one that did it. There's lots of people who did, there's several people who have done that. As a Kansas City Chiefs fan, Travis Kelce will probably be able.
Hey, the silent movie review is not for a couple of months.
Chris, your audio's gone. We can't hear a word you're saying.
Now, can you?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So sorry. This cord, I gotta get a new cord. Anyways, I was looking up Cleavon Little on Wikipedia really quick. I did not know this.
Why didn't you use IMDb?
No, because that's not what I was looking for. I was just looking at things about him, not necessarily his discography, which I could find here, or his filmography. Sorry. He is the brother, or was the brother, of Deetta Little West, best known for her performance on the vocals of the chart-topping Bill Conti song "Gonna Fly Now" in Rocky.
Huh. Well, I'll be dipped. I didn't know that. Bless you.
That looked loud.
Hence why I muted myself. Thank you.
Bless you, Ace.
The best thing a YouTuber can do is know when to mute themselves or lose their total ability to talk and be like in a silent movie like I was just a minute ago. It takes skill. It takes lots of skill because you don't know it here because I can still hear me. I could tell you everything I said. And if you're good at lip reading, you knew I said some pretty bad thing about these two because I knew I was quiet. So all right, anyways, I just saw that. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. But you mentioned the whole archetype of the jester, the trickster, or what? Well, trickster would be more accurate. And he doesn't play it like you would see like in old black and white movies when you had, black actors and everything, and they'd make them play that really stupid and humiliating caricature of how they thought black people were. And
blackface, you mean?
Yeah, but actual, blackface as blackface, black actors acting like just making them humiliate themselves. I've seen clips of that crap and I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, Cleavon played it straight and he made it work. Much like how Gene Wilder did. Like he basically was kind of I suppose you can go as far as say that Cleavon Little was the black equivalent to Gene Wilder in terms of funny, but from a perspective of playing it straight and natural. And that's where the humor comes from with his character.
Exactly. And, speaking of Gene Wilder, his performance as Jim, aka the Waco Kid, he goes from the drunk to the sharp, smooth, slick back to the smart, smooth, slick gunslinger dressed all in black, but he's not the bad guy. He's the mysterious stranger with a somewhat troubled past because he was such a good gunfighter that everybody started coming around to Rock Ridge and probably wherever else he was wandering to and from in his wandering days before he decided to temporarily settle in Rock Ridge.
If only going from town drunk to shooting straight again was that easy of a transition and that quick.
Don't drink and you're a sharpshooter. You're going to be a sharpshooter if you don't drink. He just drank because
little bastard shot me in the ass.
Now, I will say, I love the introduction, the interaction between Jim and Bart. And you hear this crash, and I say the fourth wall breaks in this movie are probably some of the best ever done ever, but they're not intentional. They're fourth wall breaks without actually being known as fourth wall breaks, but it still works so well. And when Bart looks at the camera, he's like, the drunken two must be awake. And he walks in, and Bart's hanging off this, or Jim's hanging off the side of the bunk, and he's like, "Need some help?"
Do you know? Speaking of fourth wall breaks, I'm sorry.
No,
at the very end of this movie, when they're going through the back lot, and I had forgotten this, but I saw the interview that Mel Brooks had done a while back. I mean, I could play it, but there's no need to just break it down. Basically, there's a guy in a cardigan out in the front on the corner. So it has the guard stations right here, and you have this side, which is off stage, or okay. So left, if you're watching the screen this way, it's on the left. I don't know why I'm flipped. I normally flip my camera around, but anyways, yeah, I was like, oh. Anyways, if you look at the on the right side of the screen while watching the movie, there's a guy in a cardigan. And if you watch it again, you'll see he's kind of like, what's going on around here? He wasn't supposed to be in the shot. They actually had security push the guy off. He was just walking down the sidewalk. And he got there when they were getting ready to do the shot. They had security go up and say, "Hey, sir, you're going to have to leave because we're about ready to shoot a shot." He somehow wandered back on when they started rolling, and he's in this scene. Wasn't even intended to be in the scene at all. So when you hear this now and you watch this movie again, just know there's a guy in a blue cardigan, and I mean, after we're off of here, I'll pull up the video. But
no,
it is absolutely
just happy accidents.
It was just when you now know this and you watch this again, which I'm sure we all watched this the past couple of days at least. and any other time, it's not like we just did it because we had to. We like this movie, but my point is that when I had seen that I don't know how long ago, and I hadn't seen this movie in a while, so I watched it again, and I watched it this time, and I remembered that interview now, and I saw this guy. It's like my it's a laser focus, just like, and he's there, and it's like now I can't think about it otherwise. Is that this guy fits in because of the chaos of this movie, yet he is not a part of this movie, which makes it even funnier that the fourth wall break is now a fifth wall break with a guy. That's a fifth wall break. That guy is a fifth wall break. Has that ever been done in a movie before? I don't know, but that is a fifth wall break.
Wow, that is something.
And now I cannot. Every time I'm going to see this movie, I'm going to think, oh my God, that is like such a funny moment, because you're watching this movie is going on, and what's going on in this movie is not supposed to happen, which makes it the fourth wall break that has now come into the real world.
Yep.
And the movie that has gone into the real world is still a fake world, but it's a real world it's a fake real world in the world of the movie. Therefore, the real world came into that. It's just nuts.
Yeah, but
speaking of fourth wall,
and then Bart walks in and he's like, "Need some help?" "Oh, all I can get." And the expression on Jim's face when he's like, "Are we awake? We don't know. Are we black? Yes, we are." And just the straight lace, matter of fact way that Bart answers him, and he's just like, "Yes, we are. Well, we're awake, but we're very puzzled." It is absolutely glorious. Just that exchange with two people that will eventually become good friends. And okay, Ace.
I think he's frozen now.
No, I'm not. I just want to see how long it would take you to realize I wasn't moving.
A while.
I had noticed for quite a while. I was just ignoring you.
you're doing like a phase in and out, like you're like it kind of looks with the background like you're on like literally you are on the world's best acid trip and we're just being brought along for the ride.
Oh, no. I don't do that when I'm on YouTube streams, just in my free time.
Dude, that's the perfect time to do it. Do you realize if you didn't say
I have to have somewhat coherence? I have alcohol in my system. I don't need LSD in my system, man.
Who knows?
Okay.
Besides, I was looking at my profile and I was like, holy shnikes. And then I realized, wait, let's see how long I can hold this for until they realize I'm not frozen.
I knew you weren't frozen. I knew you were doing something. I was listening to Chris because you acted like a well, I'm going to quote one of my favorite movies from the 1980s. Quit acting like penis breath. Anyway,
rails.
I have to.
We're over here. Rails are here.
Yeah, I know. I'm back on. I'm on the rails. The friendship between Bart and Jim it starts out so naturally, and he's like, "Well, what do you like to do?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. Play chess, screw. Well, let's play chess." Because Bart's probably thinking, you're not my type, like at all.
That's how my friendship.
And he's like, even if you were chess. And the demonstration of just how quick Jim could be. I know it was all camera tricks, but it was still very convincing camera tricks. And, the classic scene where he's like, steady as a rock. Yeah, but I shoot with this hand. But, the transformation that Gene Wilder's character, Jim, aka the Waco Kid, goes through. And, here's the thing. He doesn't have, at least seemingly, he does not have a racist bone in his body. He just sees Bart as a person that's somewhat out of water, a black man who's a town sheriff out in the middle of the West. And he's like, I'm going to have to take care of this guy at least a little bit. And when Hedy Lamar brings in, that's Headley.
But you do realize when it was done, right?
Yeah, because of the actress Hedy Lamar. Yeah, we've already talked about this.
Yeah, I know, but do you know why it's done in such a way that that they were sued because they sued the production because the name was so close, and that's why he put the joke in, is because he was sued for it. Now they didn't. I think they wanted like $10 million, and I think it was like $600-$700 that they settled out of court for, or something like that. And that's why he puts it in the movie. But I love those little things that happen, and like you might get to it here soon. So I'm going to wait and see if you get to it, and I'll bring up something else that I know about this. Go ahead, though.
Well, here's the thing: we've talked about Bart, we've talked about Jim. Let's move on to the bad guy, quote unquote. Harvey Korman as Hedy Lamar and his simpleton, unwitting accomplice, the governor, William J. Lepetame, played by, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Mel Brooks. And I just got one question. Can he naturally cross his eyes, or did he have to practice for that part? Because does anybody else notice, or was it just me that the governor's eyes were crossed?
It can take practice if you're not used to it, and it can hurt if you do it in the long term. Take my word for it.
Yeah, see, some people can do it very naturally. I mean, I can cross my eyes.
This is my default state.
Well, I can believe that.
No, it isn't. Now quit it, Ace.
Hey, you're killing me.
Hit your head. Hit your head. It'll put it back in place. Wrong head. I mean, sorry. Oh, wait. Maybe it's right.
I'd hit that wrong. I'd hit that head. Better be a complete system reset.
No, I don't know.
A system reset?
Even scum dogs have a system reset.
You're not a scum dog.
Oh, I'm a scumdog of the universe, or half-breed mutt, as they would say on Scumdogia. Scumdog, not scumbag. There's a difference.
You're just a nerf herder.
That's a slur.
Scumdog. Oh, scumdog zillionaire. There you go. That's
scumdog of the universe.
No. You know, some
no, you're just a nerf. You're just a nerf herder.
I hope some people know the War reference.
Nerf herder, yes, but nerf herder.
Good man.
You know, listen, I've never quite understood what in Star Wars made it so profitable to go around the universe and gather all the Nerf guns and all the Nerf bullets and herd them together and sell it.
Because they realized the Imperial Academy wasn't going to teach people to shoot straight, so they might as well shoot
I know why. When you lose all your darts, like everybody did, the only thing you can do after that is hold it up and go, pew, 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 pew. That's why they got all the Nerf. There you go. That's Nerf herder collects pews, not Nerfs. They collect the Nerfs to let people have the pews.
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. This stream has gone way off.
Okay.
A Nerf is a creature from the Star Wars universe that is essentially a form of livestock.
Burst my bubble, why don't you? Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for.
I thought you were here to burst Ace's bubble, not mine. My bubble should
everybody, not just Ace. Everybody's yours too.
Messy then.
My bubble was burst for an accident during a prostate exam.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
I don't believe that. I think you were the product of a sleazy liaison in a Super 8 motel.
I told you in private, never to discuss that in public.
And your mother was actually your mother was actually a 2-bit showgirl whose stage name was let's see, Tulip von Stoop.
No, my mother was an exhaust manifold, and my father was a tree. Sorry, my mother was a tree, and my father was an exhaust manifold.
So wait.
No, your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries. Beat you to it.
I'm proud of you, Mr. Ambassador.
Or you could always do that. We were talking cars one day. I was at lunch with a bunch of people. We were talking cars one day, and I just happened to say that my grandfather had a Woody once, but then he got rear-ended.
That part is just the once based on that story. Never again. He tried a second time. It didn't occur.
Okay. So let's continue. Headley.
Yes, let's. Hedy Lamarr, played by Harvey Korman, one of the greatest comedic actors of that or any generation. I don't care if you disagree. Come at me in the comments. Come at me at the chat. Come at me on Instagram or X. I don't care. But Harvey Korman, whether he was working with Carol Burnett or without her, was a comedic genius. The man had impeccable comedic timing. And him playing Hedy Lamarr, who wanted to snatch it. Of course, he wanted to grab someone else's snatch, aka Miss Lily von Stoop, but she blocked him at every possible angle to keep him away from her snatch, because she was just that good and he was just that bad.
I'd make a quote of snatching other people's snatch, but I'm not going to talk politics here.
But Harvey Korman, he plays he's like, And instead of people fleeing in terror, they're staying in droves. And then he goes on that rant where he's like, I want Indian agents, Mexican outlaws, muggers, buggerers, and just on in this whole litany of every deplorable title that you could think of for an outlaw in the West. Every piece of scum and villainy that you could think of that existed in the Old West.
And not in Mos Eisley.
I would say, not Mos Eisley?
Well, Mos Eisley too.
Bubble.
Mos Eisley was the wretched hive of scum and villainy, but not the only place of scum and villainy, just the wretched hive.
In the Outer Rim.
Yeah, but you know what was a very wholesome place? Rock Ridge, and they even did a song about it. There once was a place called Rock Ridge where people lived in harmony.
You're going to make me look up the lyrics.
There was no sign of trouble. There was no hint of misery. That's as much as I remember. And then you have Taggart, played by Slim Pickens, right in. And I won't say what they did to the cattle, because I think it might get me canceled. Let's just say they violated the cattle.
I'll say the last verse of the song. Now is a time of great decision. Are we to stay up and quit? There's no avoiding this conclusion. Our town is turning into shit.
And they sing it in the church. Of course, this was the Old West. And everybody's last name is Johnson in the town. And we have a returning actor that we discussed another movie that he is very famous for. The gentleman who played Santa Claus in the 1980s Santa Claus movie plays one of the town leaders whose last name is Johnson. And then, of course, you have Higgins of Magnum P.I. fame, who also plays Howard Johnson, who owns an ice cream stand that has, amazingly, one flavor. And it's probably vanilla.
And not just because he's white.
Hopefully. Thank you, Ace. Perfect timing. Not as good as Harvey Korman, but still good. Very good, my friend. Good job. You get a gold star and a cookie. I'll mail you the cookie.
It better not be oatmeal raisin this time. It better be white chocolate macadamia nut. We've talked about this.
No. We have? I don't remember.
I would just send him the ingredients to make the cookies, because I don't want to get a dried cookie.
Yeah, but now you're assuming. Yeah, but Chris, here's the problem. You're assuming that A's can A, read, and B, followed a recipe.
You never said. You never
cite my own name.
You never said how you were going to deliver the cookie. You only said you were going to give him a cookie. And therefore, in its greatest, lowest denominator, you could deliver it that way.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, but
cookie is an innuendo. Mr. Ambassador, are you giving me an innuendo and not an actual cookie made out of flour and sweets?
Maybe.
No, I was gonna send you a cookie, but no, there's no innuendo. Well, what else would it be? A sex toy?
Well, based on what Chris Knight says, it seems like that might be the case. I've got plenty of those. I don't need more.
Now you got them all hot and bothered. He's like, I need more. That's fine.
Send it to my grandma because, well, they're hand-me-downs from my grandma. No one wants Sandy stuff, and not just because her name is Sandy.
Yeah, because you know who else hated sand. Because you know who else hated sand.
Anakin. Very nice. Okay.
Well, yeah, the point.
We have circled the current.
Irritating, and it gets everywhere.
That is true. It's not like Padme who soft was who. It's not like Padme who was soft and smooth and.
Yeah. So okay, this is. I mean, I don't know how.
Okay,
George...
I think we're.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go.
We're getting way off topic. I think I'm kind of offending Matt Ambassador, honey. I'm sorry if I am.
We're talking about this movie here, right here.
Blazing Saddles. Yes. Ace, if you don't behave yourself, I'm going to sick my wife on you. And I don't mean that in a nice way. And if you say anything perverted about what I just said, you're going to have words after this stream, and you will not like any of the words that I say.
Hey, children.
Yes, honey.
Behave yourselves.
I'd never say anything about my buddies' wives, at least when they live out of state. But I will say it in state because I know they can back up what they say when they say their wife will kick my ass, because I know for a fact they can if they're in state. Out of state, it's too far for them to come kick my ass.
Yeah, but I got a pretty good idea where you live now, and we'll make the drive, and I'll let her kick your ass.
Damn it. Oh.
Anyways, speaking of kicking ass,
no taking
Mongo.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to love the simplicity of Mongo, but not to just simplicity of how he understands the world around him. He is just a pawn in the game of life, but he is introduced in one of the most hysterical scenes in the history of cinema. A scene of a bunch of cowboys sitting around a campfire, which could be very wholesome and very nice, but they're all cutting the cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And quick little fun fact, this movie is the first movie that ever broke wind on screen.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I think I've heard that before.
Wow.
Supposedly, because I remember this from when it was played on TV back in like the mid-late 2000s on AMC or something, and that was something they said during the commercial breaks, is that Blazing Saddles was the first movie to ever break wind.
Wow. And in what a glorious fashion did they do so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and here's the thing. When they were discussing the logic behind it, cowboys drank strong coffee and ate lots of beans and very little else.
Which is what Mel Brooks said on the commentary.
Sense. And Taggart comes out and he's sniffing the air, and you gotta love Slim Pickens' performance in this. I mean, the man was the perfect atypical Western actor, and he's like, and one of the guys says, "Hey, Mr. Taggart, how about some more beans?" He's like, "No, I think you all have had enough." And he's like, "Hey, who wants to go to Rock Ridge and beat up the new sheriff?" And one of the guys says, "Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we have Mongo do it?" And one of the guys is like, "No, that's too Mongo. That's too cruel." And Taggart brings a cigar over to Mongo, and Mongo, being Mongo, just ducks his head straight into the fire to light a cigar.
Why'd you say cigar? You're not from the South. What do you say next? Insurance? You're not my former boss named Todd. Insurance? Cigar?
Todd?
Yeah, because I was raised by Southerners. You got a problem with that?
Point retracted.
Exactly. That's
right. I have a Michigan accent, according to a gumbo chick. Sorry, Cajun chick.
Sorry, honey, what?
I said this movie is Tombstone and Monty Python, the Holy Grail put together.
I would agree with that.
That's
okay.
Not an
For those of you who didn't hear what Mam Ambassador said, I did. Well, I know you did, but for everybody else who may not have, who will watch this on the replay, what Mam Ambassador just made the analysis of, and it's actually a pretty good analysis. Blazing Saddles is if you combine Tombstone and Monty Python the Holy Grail together. And she's not exactly wrong. So
I don't mean it in a bad way.
No, she's saying it in a good, positive way. So, honey, thank you for your contribution. It is appreciated.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador.
Ace, she can't hear you, thank God. And thank you, Lord, that she...
Yes, thank God for that. And maybe even thank Satan, because he would even say, "No, dude, I owe you a solid."
It's time to move on with the show. It's time to get back on track. Let's get back to the show now.
That's the show. Track or back on track, because I'm on one, not the other.
You're okay, honey. Okay, Chris. Floor is yours for the next few minutes. So, what would you like to discuss about Blazing Saddles?
I was going to bring up the Yiddish Indians.
Yes.
See, here's the thing. I don't know if anybody really understands the real comic genius that move was. So back before this movie, in this time, and definitely in Westerns, they didn't hire Native Americans to play Native Americans. 9 times out of 10,
very rarely, if ever.
They hired Jewish actors. And so he takes this stereotype of people who they got to play a certain stereotype to even more stereotype it by making them Yiddish. And that whole scene is just complete absurdity.
The flashback scene about the flashback scene when Bart's talking about when him and his parents moved out west, and they couldn't join the wagon train because everybody in the wagon train was a racist asshole.
You could say
I think he said it was the Sioux Nation came looking for trouble, and let me tell you, baby, they were open for business.
Mm-hmm.
And you have Mel Brooks playing the chief, and he's like, "Couple walk, it's all right." And Bart's parents say thank you, and little Bart says thank you. And the chief says, I can't remember how exactly he says it.
They're darker than us. Woof.
Woof. Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. I think
because he speaks a bunch of Yiddish. He speaks a bunch of Yiddish beforehand.
Tells him to let him go.
Yeah,
he says. I think at one point he says, as long as they're healthy. But the last thing he says is they're darker than us, which is again another way of saying again Native Americans, if they were how do I say this right? The Native Americans as they portrayed in Western times would be plains people who hunted a lot, were out in the sun a lot, so they would be very dark skinned.
Yes,
and I think that's another joke towards that. Like, hey, we aren't even that, dark. We should be. Dark skin. I think that's kind of what he's joking.
Even Italians aren't that dark. And I'm part Sicilian. I can say it.
Okay, and
what said you couldn't? What said?
It's not like we're talking about that scene in True Romance.
Valid. We are months.
Almost
a year.
And if you know
discussion,
and if you know, you know, and if you haven't watched me and Ace's review of True Romance, you should. That was a good review, as is many of my reviews of Mr. Mowick over here.
To his
shut up, Ace.
Hey.
Before you say something stupid.
Why don't you just stab me?
Damn it, me without my clip of Psycho.
I keep telling you, you have your clips on standby. You did at one point in time, but because of the whole algorithm change on this, and then trying to go to the other side, coming back to this, subscription, no subscription, it's all out of whack now.
Well, kiss my ass too, Ace.
I offered. You said no, even when I had cash in hand.
And I told you before, you're not my type.
It was Valentine's Day. I was lonely.
And I'm married. See?
It's not
called a wedding ring.
What? It's not an open marriage?
Hell no.
Oh. Some people
no way in hell.
Some people keep it honorable. He's clearly not a millennial.
Another thing about this movie, John Wayne was asked to cameo in this movie.
That's right.
And he politely declined, said he did not think it was good for his image. That was a thing I think came up a lot in this movie. Says, I can't do it, Mel. It would be too much of a shock to my fans, but I'll be the first one in line to see it. And he was there on opening night.
And you know what? That says a lot about John Wayne, because this was towards the end of his life, because unfortunately he died the same year I was born, and that makes me very sad. Because he died in 1978, 4 years after this movie came out. Damn, that sucks.
And you know why he died, right? You know, everybody thinks it's because he was a smoker and all that. If you don't know cancer. Where he got his cancer from, well, yeah, he smoked. I mean, people think that he died of lung cancer because he smoked. He didn't die of lung. Go find out if you want a really crazy Hollywood story. The people, what was it? Genghis Khan?
Oh, that flick.
Oh, The Conqueror.
Yeah, The Conqueror. That's what it was. If you go read up on that movie, the majority of the stars in that movie died of cancer because most of the clothing so they filmed it in Nevada during nuclear testing, and they were downwind from it. And so they were in the sand with nuclear. It's like, if you go read up on that movie, and you will hear the craziest Hollywood story. That, and I think it was Cleopatra. They found the actual this. I don't know. We'll talk after. That's going way off. I dig into these crazy Hollywood stories. It's like, oh my God, how in the world?
So you probably heard about Wizard of Oz and the little person hanging themselves, right?
Well, okay. So that isn't actually true.
No, that's not true.
I know it's not. I just want to know if you heard about it.
Yeah, no. I've heard all the crazy stories about that too.
Makeup, but the issue with the toxic makeup for the Scarecrow and the Tin Man.
Jed Clampett, I can't remember the name of the actor. Jed Clampett was the first actor to be the Tin Man, and because of his reaction to the aluminum powder, he had to bow out.
Well, we won't go into how Judy Garland was treated.
Oh no, that was crazy too. I mean, but then again, back then you were not signed per film; you were signed with a studio.
To a studio.
I mean, so while some things of Hollywood have
that's a whole other can of worms, and we're not going fishing.
Yeah,
so.
No, I'm just saying. But while Hollywood might have had better films, maybe back in the earlier days in the 70s, 80s, 60s, the way they did things were horrible back then. So if anything, maybe it's gotten a little better because of that. But now they release crap.
Yes, more abuse in Hollywood nowadays. That's what we need for good.
I did not say that, though. There might be precedent.
Well, I'm saying
let's
all right.
Guys, Blazing Saddles, please.
So yeah, I just well,
let's just say that the production on this movie was probably was a very good, very solid, very healthy production. I would say most definitely so, because you got Mel Brooks running things. You've got good producers who were ethical and not scumbags running things.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Mel Brooks himself, I mean, this is a guy who would stick up for his cast and his crew. This is a guy that took care of his people that worked with him, because he had been in show business for a very long time. Not to mention he's former military, so he don't take no crap. Even if he was short in stature, he could probably kick ass.
Mm-hmm.
But
and he's pushing.
I have to, yeah. Or hey, he has turned 100, I think.
He turns 100 in June.
Turns 100 in June. Thank you, honey.
Dick Van Dyke turned 100.
Yep. And but yeah, Mel Brooks, as just to kind of get us back on topic, he doesn't play a corrupt government official. He plays a
incompetent.
I want to say incompetent / easily manipulated government official.
Just like now.
I think. Yeah, that's what I say. Is like, but isn't that always been the thing that, like, there was always a puppet master above the puppet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but here in this case, it isn't the governor that's the puppet master. It's the state procurer, played by Harvey Korman, who is the puppet master.
Yeah, that's typically the case. It's somebody underneath because they don't want to be seen as the face. They want to run everything, but they use that person up there. I mean, people said it about in some
instances, it's two people that are working in cahoots together.
Sometimes, yeah.
But, in this particular instance, Hedy Lamarr is clearly the brains, and Lepidamine is the dumb, innocent face. Even though Mrs. Johnson, the school marm, calls him the leading asshole in the state because they sent him Bart as their town sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, mine's warped. I've got a warped one.
Why do I always get a warped
Lamar's
one?
Like, of course, sir. And then, of course, the scene where we can infer that Lepidamine is stripping his secretary. When Lamarr comes in to throw the idea of sending Bart off as the town sheriff, and he's like, here, put something on and stay in that position. And he's like, I was just out walking the parapet. We're like, yeah, we know what you were doing. You were stripping your very shapely assistant.
And nobody's nobody's fooled by it.
Dale, are you coming back?
In a minute, honey.
Fine, Red.
Shut up, Ace. There's only one person I call honey, and it ain't you. But the chemistry between Brooks and Corman, those two, I mean, like I said, whether Corman was working with or without Carol Burnett and the crew of the Carol Burnett show, and what was the Tim Conway?
Mm-hmm.
Tim Conway and Harvey Korman, they were like the modern day Abbott and Costello, yet just a little cruder, but still hilarious.
They were peanut butter and jelly, chocolate and the marshmallows on a graham cracker.
And Carol Burnett, nope, don't say that. Don't say it. I was about to say something I shouldn't.
Say it. Let me be the devil on your shoulder. Say it. Let me be the id. Say it. 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 Say it.
I'll mute you. I'll mute you. Do you want to be muted?
No.
That's what I thought.
I'm not at a council meeting.
That's what I thought. So, let's see. What haven't we talked about? We talked about the language. We've talked about the characters. Anything? Okay, on the characters, is there anyone we've missed that we want to discuss, or somebody we want?
Scene. It's kind of funny.
Pardon? Okay, which scene?
The quicksand scene. I think all the scenes they put in it, mixed with the again, everything's stereotypical of a Western movie. So again, Mel Brooks probably sat down and said, okay, what's in a Western movie? Give me Indians. Okay, do the Indians. Railroads. Okay, let's do the railroads. Well, then that means the Chinese workers. Okay, put the Chinese workers in there. Well, you never saw a black man. Okay, well, that's, I mean, right? So they come up with all these ideas. I mean, and that's any movie, but in these movies, it's very important to come up with, we have to make it just like a Western, but then make it ridiculous, but treat it like it's straight. It's really, that's just what's going on. So again, the quicksand scene is done very well. I think it's funny.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Quicksand! Don't call him, almost lost a $400 hand cart there.
Adjust that for inflation, folks.
$4,000?
Wait, from 1974, from when the movie might have taken place.
Well, now 1874. $400 in 1874.
Okay. So $4,000 in 1974.
Probably, and that'd probably be what, 40,000 today or more than that.
I'm looking it up.
Maybe if hand carts were even still used, and they're not.
There's probably some like very small, dilapidated or low maintenance ones somewhere on the railroad.
It would be worth today. Oh, 14,902.16 cents.
There's still
Wow. Okay.
There's still 4 in there at least.
There is. Doggone it.
Wowzers.
You guys want to talk about the final act of the movie? You know, with
We've got to. We have got to.
Yeah, I mean, we're
okay. There's one character we haven't discussed. I want to discuss him briefly because he does play a key part in the end.
Mm-hmm.
The preacher.
Mm-hmm.
The preacher. We have got to talk about the preacher. And one of my favorite lines, son, you're on your own.
Yeah.
I love, and please open your Bibles. I'll be reading from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and Duck.
Duck is the 13th apostle no one knows about. But enough about Kevin Smith reviews.
Oh.
Seriously, you're gonna reference Dogma?
Yeah, I missed out on the Kevin Smith reviews. I have to.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that either.
What, Dogma? I think it's hilarious.
I'm not knocking it. I think it's funny. It's one of his better top 3 movies, I'd say.
I'm just saying that I'm not happy that me and Ace both missed out on this.
Maybe we can do a side thing on my channel or something sometime, talking just about that movie from different points of view theologically. But that's beside the point. Let's get back to the Blazing Saddles.
Did you guys know that there's a Mel Brooks HBO special right now? 2-part documentary?
I did not.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm looking through my Mel Brooks Reddit thing.
Wow.
It's called The 99-Year-Old Man.
Why does that not surprise me? Anyway, the end fight scene where the town folk of Rock Ridge stand up to Hedy Lamar's army of cutthroats and bandits and desperados and bushwhackers and cattle rustlers and Indian agents and everything else under the sun, and apparently motorcycle gang members and Arab bandits and members of a certain clan.
Have a nice day.
And also members of a certain Reich.
Big smile. Big smile.
Who amazingly during the big fight, Lily is able to subdue through song because she herself is also German. Or at least she's playing, Madeline Kahn's playing a German. Or as Hedy Lamar insults her with, you teutonic twat.
Funnily enough, Madeline Kahn's Jewish, so just the irony of it. Just from that little scene, I mean.
Yeah. But, she didn't seem offended, so hey. Good writing on Mr. Brooks's part.
Mm-hmm.
Or whoever wrote that particular line. But yeah, the whole fight scene is, I'm like, first time I saw it, it started out perfectly normal where they're fighting in the fake Rock Ridge. And you see the fake horse being tipped over. And then the fight just keeps going and going and going. Oh, does anybody know about the deleted scene?
Which deleted scene? Because I might have
that coincides with the
punching the actual horse.
No.
That's in the movie.
No, I'm talking about the lead scene with Brooks's character, the governor, Lepediment.
That scene, yes.
He actually comes to town and starts talking to the dummies.
And the reporter's like, "These people are dummies." Like, "Hey, I know that, but don't tell them that. It's bad for PR or whatever he says.
It's bad for my image."
That's what he said.
And I guess Chris doesn't know about that deleted scene.
Man, watch the DVD.
I was shaking my head.
My head. But just the first, like I said, the first time I saw that, and it just keeps going, and then it zooms out, and you have this really cool crane shot, and it shows the rest of the backline. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? And I look at Mother Ambassador. I'm like, what the hell are they doing? She's like, just watch. I'm like, okay, I'm watching, but what are they doing? She's like, just watch. I'm like, okay. And it cuts to the musical number with Dom DeLuise and all the guys dressed up in tuxedos, and they're doing the dance number to the song called The French Mistake.
Written by Mel Brooks.
Written by Mel Brooks, of course. And they keep getting the choreography wrong, and the director comes in and he's like, cut! Wrong. And watch me. And he even screws it up because he dunks his. And it's.
Have you got it? Yes. Sounds like steam escaping.
Guys, I've set you up. Let's y'all carry on.
Probably the thinnest I've ever seen Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, probably.
Shame on you.
Hey, I bought his cookbook.
Not you. No.
Shame on
Still,
him.
shame on you. It's not his fault. He probably had a glandular problem, you jerk.
I'm not
Nobody's ever
knocking.
saying anything.
I
I'm
like
just
to eat
saying.
as well. I've been fat. That's
Ben?
Yeah, that's why I got on a regular eating disorder.
You are fat.
Yeah, like Weird Al. Cause I'm fat, shemo. Anyway.
Yeah, you're a fat head because you have a fat brain.
Hey, don't imply I'm smart because I'm not.
No, I'm talking about Ace. I'm not talking, honey. I'm talking about Ace. I'm not talking about
Yeah,
you.
never call
I'm
a
a-
woman fat. She will plot your death in your sleep.
They do that anyways. Don't you know that's just a standard thing they do every
My
night
wife
in case it's
doesn't.
necessary?
That's why I'm
You
single
think
for
that.
a reason.
You think that?
No, you're single because no woman will have you because you're too dang homely.
Hey, that's neither here nor there.
Have you seen yourself in the mirror lately?
Hey, I resemble that.
How old were you when we got married, Mr. Ambassador?
I'm talking about the fact that he's fat and ugly.
Yeah.
I'm not fat and I'm not ugly.
Yeah, don't make me whip out my
Yeah.
beer belly
Hey,
on
you know what?
screen. Nobody wants
one.
that, especially the
It's not
algorithm.
ugly.
You'll
And
be.
besides, it's inside that counts.
Yeah, but his inside isn't very good.
Well, you know,
I have a black and
Because
shriveled
I'm
heart.
joking.
I know. I'm just riling you up.
Well,
Working.
Go eat your go eat your snack.
I have the heart
me
of
alone.
Morgoth.
You're not as cool as Morgoth. Morgoth had more riz than you do.
I know.
But anyway, the fight scene. Gentlemen, I've got to start it. Continue, please.
Go ahead, Chris.
No,
Well-
Ace, your turn.
Oh,
Well, it's just hilarious. Like, I'm working for Mel Brooks. Not in the face. Gut. Thank you. They hit Randall. Come on, girls. And then
No, they hit Buddy.
Oh, Buddy. Sorry, I was just saying a name out of air. And then just explodes into a whole other fist fight. And just the little gags. You're brute, you brute, you brute. Beat other guy's chest and then just break down crying. Just subtle humor. Why am I explaining the gags? You guys can just watch the movie as opposed to hearing me explain them.
good.
If I want to explain
But
a
how
gag,
did
I'd
the-
be a Family Guy writer.
But how did the gags make you feel?
That's
That's
freaking
what we really
hilarious.
want to know, Ace.
Because I think it's funny because we've watched this whole movie up until the point where they all spill out in the main street of this town in the Old West, and they've used these wide sprawling, probably, I don't know if it's Utah.
Rain
there's a-
shots.
well, there's several definite places where the United States movies that were westerns were filmed. They show them in all the Looney Tune, like the Wile E. Coyote skits and stuff like that. those are all just basically cartoon versions of the old West scenes. But all these, well, it's Utah. I'm trying to remember the name of the actual place where it's done, but there's one that like the majority of all those scenes were filmed at. And you've been in this town and you've seen this wide sprawling range of Western land and all that. And then you get this fight, it spills out into the street. Everybody's fighting. And the next thing you know, they start playing the music and pan out. And now all of a sudden you're in the back lot. It's like they show the whole back lot. And then the movie you've watched this whole time, this Western funny movie, then all of a sudden switches to the dance number. And then the wall gets broke down, which again is even funny because it's not as if they're really fighting, because the wall is a prop wall that falls down because you can tell where the cutout is because you can see it. So again, this absurdity that they are still really those characters, and only in certain things, like you said, you brought up the, hey, I'm working for Mel Brooks. And he goes to, well, not in the face. And then he punches him in the stomach and says, thank you. And then and then they start fighting because they did that. And just the sheer absurdity as quickly as it takes place. I mean, because literally from the time they pan out to the time that punch happens and the rest of the other actors in another movie join the absurdity, it's like 30 seconds. And I'm going to go off a little bit on a tangent, but for a good reason here. There are videos out there, and I think I've talked about it before, maybe not here, but definitely on other things, about the reason why the 2016 Ghostbusters isn't as good as the original, or why it doesn't work as well, is because the scene, for instance, where they talk about the proton packs is 2 scenes and takes about 5 to 7 minutes of the movie. The proton pack scene in the original Ghostbusters is a 30-second scene with 3 characters in an elevator. The quicker you can get your gag out and don't expect people to need to be brought along for the ride, just here it is, you're going to have to accept it and come along with us. That's the brilliance of this part. It's just like all of a sudden we go from this movie and boom, pan out. Wait, what is this? And then you find out it's a backlot, and it just that quick boom. There's no time to think about it.
Yeah, that is a
what the hell?
Yeah, that is the best way to put it, because I believe what was her name? Lindsay Ellis, formerly the nostalgia chick or nostalgia woman of Channel Awesome. She did a review of Blazing Saddles, and she had mentioned.
No, she did not do a review of Blazing Saddles. She did a review of the producers. Yeah, she also did a discussion on the career of Mel Brooks and how they.
Yes, thank you for the correction. She did talk about Blazing Saddles in terms of Mel Brooks's style. That in terms of how, but like before you can process one gag, he's on to the next gag, and Chris just basically explained that beautifully.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, I think the good thing of a good comedy and a good writer and stuff. And again, I'm probably going to say something that's not very popular here. It's not like I hate the movie Ghostbusters from 2016. It's just not a Ghostbusters movie per se, because it's just not the kind of comedy writing that the original one was. Writers these days seem to think they got to keep pushing for gags and make that scene longer when they don't have to. Sometimes quick to the point can be way funnier than 5 minutes of a gag. Keep going on and on and on. And that's the thing. This gag, the fight gag does go on for a bit. But it's not the fact that the fight is what's funny. It's the fact that it keeps involving more and more people that have nothing to do with this movie, which again is even more of that fourth wall break into another fourth wall break, because now that movie is in another movie, which is now in this world. So again, if you really do the math of this, it's how many wall breaks are we really going through here? So, I mean, sometimes simplicity and not having to tell listen, if your audience is that stupid, and I'm not telling people that audiences are stupid, I'm just saying, as a writer, it's not your job to explain the joke. If the person's not going to get the joke, you can try to go as long as you want to explain it. It's not going to help. It's not going to make it any funnier.
No.
If you have to explain it, it doesn't make it fun. So that's the best part of the ending.
Well, and to quote Shakespeare, specifically Polonius from Hamlet, brevity is the soul of wit, so let me be brief. Brevity is the soul of wit. To be brief is to be quick, and to be quick is to be funny, and to be funny is to induce hilarity and laughter and joy. And for all the different ways that this movie invokes joy and laughter and hilarity, but also at the same time delivers a message that is indeed timeless. The fact that racism to any degree only diminishes the person who participates in it. It's as simple as that. If you're going to judge a person solely on their race or on and not on the quality of their character, and yes, I am somewhat quoting Martin Luther King Jr. here. If you're going to judge a person based on their race instead of the quality of their character, then that is not going to necessarily demean the person that you're doing it to, although it will if they allow it. But it's going to diminish you as a person because it's going to make you appear ignorant or stupid or just closed-minded. And what this movie does so brilliantly is it takes the concept of racism and it blackens the eye and bloodies the nose of the concept of racism, but it makes you laugh while it does it. That's the brilliance of this movie. And that's what, yes, obviously Mel Brooks wasn't necessarily trying to make a statement to any degree, although he did, I think, want to make some sort of statement, but his ultimate goal was to make a entertaining movie that did make a statement and did it well and has not been topped yet, because I don't think there's another movie that has tackled the concept of racism or prejudice in a comedic format that has done it as well as Blazing Saddles has.
No, I mean, I give credit to The Help. That was fun, but
yes, that was a little more serious, though.
Right, and also Hidden Figures, women with
yes,
or Remember the Titans,
or
Washington.
Or Remember the Titans, yeah. But those were more serious, dramatic movies. This was a pure comedy.
Exactly.
But what Mamba Baster mentioned, to those you may not have heard, I know you guys probably did. Remember the Titans and The Help and Hidden Figures. All those did, to varying degrees, make commentary, but also were also very entertaining and everything. But Blazing Saddles is, as far as I know, the only comedic film that tackles the concept of prejudice or racism and makes you laugh.
You're right.
Because the writing is solid, the acting is good. Okay, the acting is great. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. At least I think it's great. So, but I've rambled. So, guys, if there's anything you want to comment on, what
I'm just going to bring up a couple other things about one. I mean, we all know Gene Wilder was not originally in this movie. I mean, so think about that. The two main actors were not in this movie, or were not supposed to be in this movie. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. I thought he was always cast.
Gig Young, which is a former Western actor, was going to play the Waco Kid, and he talk about method acting.
Too much of the
first day on set, he actually collapsed before they even did a take because of alcohol withdrawal. Mel Brooks fired him on the spot, called up Gene Wilder and said, "I need you here." And Gene Wilder said, "Okay, fine." He didn't read the script. He showed up the next morning and started filming. He also had one other thing, which is funny because if you follow Gene Wilder's career, he had a lot of things. He was like, I have one condition. The one condition of Willy Wonka was that he added the scene where he does the somersault at the beginning, because then from that point on, you wouldn't know if he was telling the truth or a lie. The one condition on this is he says, if I play this, I want to play it completely straight. I'm not playing for laughs. That was his condition on this movie.
Best.
I never realized he was playing it straight, because because I took a lot of what he did as humorous, not as him playing it straight, but damn.
That shows style of humor, playing it straight, gets that humor. Like if you watch any movie with him and Richard Pryor, like there's been interviews where he says like they'd be doing a scene, him and Richard Pryor, and Richard will go off script, improvise, and rather than say something clever in response, he played it straight and natural until like they could go back on script and to make it more funny, because that's the flaw. Too many comedians try to outdo each other, and it just drags on and on. And an example of that would probably, like, according to those who did see the movie, was in the 2016 Ghostbusters movie.
The
mind blown.
The whole idea that this movie was trying to be shut down by literally everything around it. The studio, after the first cut, said, no, we're not releasing this. And Mel Brooks basically had to beg for one test screening. That test screening went on for 20 minutes with silence until the bean scene. And when that happened, everybody just couldn't handle it, started cracking up. And they said from that point on, everybody was laughing the whole rest of the movie. And because of that, the studio allowed it. The critics, not the critics, but the MPAA, which back then had three things they could rate it as, is G, PG, R, or they had X or whatever you want to call it now. It's like MP and
NC-17.
NC-17.
They were going to literally just say, no, you can't do this. And they said he would never work again in Hollywood if he released this. And he changed very little. And his quote is, I only changed what I legally had to change. And whatever that means, I don't know. So he obviously changed, but basically they said there's very little that was changed about the movie.
Wow.
The toll booth explosion, the dynamite was meant to be slapstick, but on the day of filming, the explosive charge detonated early, just seconds after actors cleared the area. It almost killed some people, but nobody was injured.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. But that's the take you see. So, like, the sudden musical number, Dom DeLuise, wasn't originally planned to be out in full. Choreograph was thrown together at the last minute. DeLuise ad-libbed most of his lines, and the studio hated it and wanted it removed. Brooks ignored them, left it in.
Apparently, like during one of the test screenings, I don't know if it was with the producers or the MPAA. Apparently, they were saying like, "Okay, we don't like this," and he was pretending to take notes and like, "Okay," like gone, like making it seem like he was going to edit them out. And then basically once they're gone, he's like, keeping all that. I ain't listening to them.
Most of the studio execs didn't get the ending of the movie. They asked Brooks, he says, "What? We don't get it. Why did they leave the movie?" And he says, "Because it's over."
Yeah, exactly. And because it's over.
Basically, most audiences understood it. Studio execs didn't get it.
Now, I don't know if either one of you know this or even realize this is on the DVD. They did try this as a TV show, and I think they only did the pilot. And guess who played Bart? No, it was not Cleavon Little, unfortunately.
It's not Richard Pryor either.
No.
What?
Lou Gossett Jr.
Yeah.
I didn't.
They did a pilot for a TV show of Blazing Saddles where Bart went to another town. and they actually have the pilot episode on the DVD.
And I have the 30th anniversary edition of the DVD. I saw that the pilot is on there, but I did not have time to watch it. However, I did see like a review of the pilot from Hats Off Entertainment's YouTube channel discussing it.
Mm-hmm.
I watched about maybe 5 minutes of it, and I was like, nope. This is a reason why this doesn't work as a TV show. It was perfect as a movie. Now, I might at some point, just out of curiosity, go back and watch the pilot.
You don't want to,
but
you don't.
Not good.
Well, it's made for TV. They couldn't do it. I mean, okay, while All in the Family was out there, you can't take a movie that's like this and literally strip it that far down, and you just can't. No. It was nominated for 3 Oscars. I did look this up. 3 Oscars, and it didn't win any. Best Supporting Actress, Madeline Kahn. Best Film Editing, and like I said, Best Original Song. Brooks later said that the film was too dangerous for the industry to reward. He believed that.
Bullshit.
Executives tried to force a title change. The title, Blazing Saddles, was considered too strange and suggestive. Studio execs pushed for safer alternatives like Tex or Black Bart Rides Again. Brooks refused, said the title was part of the joke and wouldn't change it. Brooks has said that the film could not be made today. Multiple times over the years, Brooks stated that Blazing Saddles could never get greenlit under modern studio systems. Between the language, satire, and subject matter, no one would risk it. He said it was only possible because of the specific time, culture, and people involved.
That's true.
The crew kept
very absolutely.
We talked about how many takes this took. The crew kept ruining takes with laughter. Several scenes had to be reshot because crew members couldn't stop laughing. Boom mic operators dropped into frame. Camera assistants ruined audio. Even the assistant director had to be removed from the set. Brooks eventually had to remind everyone they were still making the film, not just watching it. I already mentioned the John Wayne cameo.
And honestly, I'm kind of glad because he really would have overshadowed the movie, and I think that's why he did decline. What Wayne said as his explanation, I agree with, but I think he also knew if he made a cameo, he would have overshadowed the movie, the rest of the cast. And this is an actor who respected other actors.
You know, well, wait, he would not have. Go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
This is a guy that came up through the studio system. He had his name changed and everything. And he went along with it because we all know his actual name. And if you don't, it's Marion Michael Morrison. Everything was changed to John Wayne. But Wayne had such a respect for other actors that I think he knew these people had busted their asses to make this movie, and he didn't want to ruin their chance to really shine. Anyway, go ahead, Chris.
All they would have had to do if he had said yes. He's in at the end of the movie. He walks in, you see him, you think, here's the big bad John Wayne. He walks in, pushes the saloon doors open, sits down at the table. They give him a drink, whiskey, a beer, whatever, and then that fight breaks out. And the only thing he does other than the walking in is just lift up a thing so it doesn't lift up his drink so it doesn't spill, puts it back down, and that's the only part he has. That would have been perfect. It wasn't. Yeah, that could have worked. It wasn't that he was worried about overshadowing. It was that people just wouldn't accept he would be in this type of film, and that would have been what was the detractor would have been.
Actually, that it was almost in the movie because if you actually pay attention to that scene where Mongo's in the saloon pushing the guys against the wall at the piano, there's one guy at a table still having a drink where he was playing cards before. That would actually would have been the perfect place to have that gag.
Maybe, yeah.
Cleavon Little received racist letters and threats while filming. He kept it professional, never missed a beat on set. And most, if not all of the cast didn't find out until after the movie was wrapped that he had been receiving those letters.
Bunch of assholes.
Humans.
Assholes. Or as the Waco kid said, Morons.
Mm-hmm. Tards.
Just such perfect delivery. Just such perfect delivery.
I mean, again, this movie is a once. Okay, I say like things like the Rolling Stones, the Beatles are not once a generation. They're omni-generational. You will never get another band like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones that have lasted for that many years. I mean, you could argue things like maybe Nirvana, but Nirvana is more of a
Iron Maiden.
You know them, but they're not the still talked about. I asked, kids, lots of kids who are into music still know who the Beatles are. Rappers talk about the Beatles being, people that inspired them. So you get these. Blazing Saddles is an omni-generational movie, not only because it can't be made today, but because it still speaks to people today. And so you very rarely get movies like this. So, when you talk about not just comedies, but movies, again, we talked about how good the Producers is. Producers isn't like
they just
surpassed their job. It's just a fun movie. But this is above and beyond that. So,
yeah, it's the first in a long line of great spoof or parody movies done by a man who, I say, in a lot of ways, mastered, if not surpassed, any other comedic writer that did spoof movies themselves. I'm talking about the guys who did the Airplane movies, especially the first one. Don't get me wrong, I like the sequel, Airplane 2, the sequel. I like it, but they didn't have all the original writers and directors for that movie like they did for the first one. And also, with like the Scary Movies series, the first one was good. I enjoyed it. I did. But it went on for too long. But Mel Brooks, he mastered the spoof, and honestly, I don't think there's been another comedic writer or director who's been able to do as well as he. Now, I will say there's one other spoof of a Western spoof movie that I very much enjoyed. I've only watched it once, but I need to watch it again, and I may actually do a discussion. And that's, of course, A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Yes,
that movie is.
It's similar in some ways, safer, but it's
obviously
still very fun to watch.
It's hysterical.
And you can tell that it's inspired by this movie too.
Well, and that's because, I know I said once or anything of Seth MacFarlane, I've hated the direction that Family Guy has gone into, because Family Guy used to be, I really enjoyed it. Like the first 5 or 6 seasons or so, and all the 3 Star Wars parodies that they did, all hysterical. I love them. I do. But anymore, Family Guy just, it's like The Simpsons. It's just not funny. It's lost its imagination. It's lost its enthusiasm.
And Family Guy's just gotten mean-spirited.
That too. And it's gone on for too long. I think it needs to end, kind of like The Simpsons needs to end. So,
you ever think that maybe they're doing that to make it end?
I don't know.
Because it keeps getting renewed, and so I think they keep doing certain things, going like, "We're ready to be done."
Well, they could just walk away and say, "Hey guys, we're done."
That could probably lead to a lawsuit or something from studios, because they have that type of power for bullcrap lawsuits like that.
I mean, and also another reason why, and I mean, again, it's the obvious, one of the biggest obvious reasons why, is that now that Disney owns both properties, they're not allowed to be as free-wielding as they used to. Again, you got to remember, Fox was the original one that, because they were going broke, probably gave 2 shows that would have never been greenlit by any other TV network at the time
a chance,
and that's X-Files and Married with Children, and those 2 shows right there
saved
not
Fox.
only saved their network, but helped to become probably a powerhouse. I mean, at the time,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it surpassed a lot of things.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then, and when you look at them, not, you know, well, I mean, X-Files was probably more respected, but people came to love Married with Children because even though it's
Mhm.
crude and all that, they still saw a family unit, you know, and so it was like this is more realistic than what we show in most stuff. So that's why we like this movie.
And you know, and I will say this, and then we'll probably wrap up.
Mm.
Of the two shows that were in that similar vein, I always liked Married with Children more than I did Roseanne because, and it's not because of the cast per se, but because the storylines and the stories that they told on Married with Children were a little more outlandish and not as grounded.
No,
But
yeah.
also, yeah, the family was kind of mean spirited, but once you picked on one of them, they all gained up on you. Now that's a family. Roseanne, after a while, after like, I want to say for me, the seasons of Roseanne that I liked the best was like seasons 1 through 4, because at a point, she just got mean. The kids got mean. Everybody just got mean and bitter and angry, and it just wasn't funny anymore. It was always just a downer.
Well,
Everything just
and
sucked.
the other thing is there was no continuity within Married with Children. There was still continuity within Roseanne. There were certain reoccurring things. You knew where Al worked. There were reoccurring characters that, you know, you knew what he did for a living. It had the feel of sitcoms. But when you looked at it, the very next week, Kelly always had a new girl, you know, a new boyfriend, you know, and you know, Al was always talking about his car. They were just tropes, and it was nothing but tropes constantly and pounding the same trope over and over again, and no real reoccurring storyline. They changed. They went to change, and again, there's, depending on who you talk to about it, there was a heavy push. They were able to change a character just out of the blue, things like that. So, anyways, we're on something completely different. So,
yeah, but yeah, you know, in terms of, you know, Blazing Saddles, guys, if you have never seen this movie and you're incentivized to do so by our discussion tonight, or whenever y'all check this this discussion out, go do it. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to watch this movie at least once. And if you come back, and if you do so, and you come back here and you put a comment or anything, if you want to put a comment and say, hey guys, this is something I'm going to watch again, or this is like one of my new favorite comedies. If it's not, it doesn't have to be your new top all-time favorite comedy, but if this becomes something that you love, tell us, please, because
it is not for everybody.
No, it's not. I will say, yeah, it's not going to be for everybody, but there's
you might feel uncomfortable. You might feel uncomfortable. That's the point of the movie.
Yes.
And as you go along, though, the longer it goes on, you'll see the point of why it's like that.
Yes. But anyways, for all of you that tuned in tonight, thank you for being here. Hope you all enjoyed the discussion, even though we went off on some rabbit trails. They were fun rabbit trails. And to my better half who contributed off camera, thank you. Thank you, honey. Love you.
Love you too.
And guys, I don't love you, but I respect you and you're my friends.
Thank you.
So I love you as friends.
Thank you.
And then you say, hey, I love my friends.
So, but anyways, folks, we will of course be back next month, which starts tomorrow with episode 3 of the Mel Brooks podcast. We'll of course be discussing Young Frankenstein. So be sure to keep an eye on my socials or anything for when that'll be coming up. And of course, check out my other content on the former Ambassador Wing, now Gen X Cinema. I'll be doing some more reviews next month as well. Going to be doing a special series for the month of Valentine's Day, discussing a certain animated series of films that very much fits into the themes of Valentine's Day. That, of course, being Finding Your True Love. And that, of course, that series is the Shrek movies. So be sure to yep, we're going to do the Shrek movies.
I'm going to have to be out on that one.
Shrek 1 through Shrek 4.
Okay,
So,
I mean, thank you. But is it all the little specials and stuff in between them? I mean, there's like 30
no, just
of them?
this. No, just the four main canonical movies. Not all the little specials in
The fifth
between.
one?
I'm interested. Not gonna lie. So it might be good. I have to wait and see. So, but anyways, folks, you all have a great night. We will see you next time. Have a good one.